Far away in the cold, dark stretch of space called the Expanse, a small alien outpost sat alone on the edge of a dying star system. The people who lived there were called the Verasi. They were a peaceful species, known across the galaxy for their love of knowledge and art. But now their quiet world was under threat. For months, a powerful enemy fleet had been closing in on their home. The Verasi had no chance to fight back. Their weapons were weak and their numbers were small. The invaders destroyed everything they touched, burning planets and crushing resistance with cold, brutal force. The Verasi Council gathered in their grand hall, a place built from shining crystals that caught the light of their dying sun. Their leaders spoke in low, worried voices. They knew the end was near. If help did not come soon, their civilization would be lost forever. "Send the distress signal," said Elder Miri, her voice trembling. "We must call for aid. The coalition of nearby planets will hear us. Maybe they will come." The Verasi had once been part of a great galactic alliance, a coalition that promised safety and support to all its members. But the galaxy was large and many were busy with their own problems. Help might not arrive in time or at all. Despite the fear in their hearts, the Verasi acted quickly. They activated the ancient distress beacon, a device built long ago during a time of peace. The signal was simple but powerful, encoded with the urgency of their last hope. It flashed out across space, a call for rescue from the edge of the Expanse. The signal traveled through the void, crossing light years of emptiness, until it reached the listening posts of the coalition. In a large command room on a busy space station, officers gathered around blinking consoles. The distress call from the Verasi sparked alarms. Commander Drell, a calm but firm leader, looked at the incoming message. "This is serious," he said. "The Verasi have always been friends. We cannot ignore their call." "Agreed," said Lieutenant Tora, a young officer who believed in the coalition's mission. "We must send help immediately." "But what do we have nearby?" The coalition had ships spread across the galaxy, but many were tied up with patrols, trade escorts, or border security. The nearest force capable of combat was a human warship, the Nemesis. The humans were known throughout the galaxy for their strength and fierce fighting skills, but they were also mysterious. Few knew much about them, and even fewer trusted them. "Send a request to the Nemesis," Commander Drell ordered. "If anyone can save the Verasi, it's them." The Nemesis was unlike any other ship in the coalition fleet. It was large, dark, and angular, with a design that seemed built for war and stealth rather than comfort or diplomacy. Its black hull absorbed the faint light of distant stars, making it almost invisible in the darkness. Inside, the human crew moved silently through the corridors. They were a mix of soldiers, engineers, and scientists, trained for one purpose: to fight and win against impossible odds. Their captain, a tall woman named Captain Asha, stood in the command center, studying the data from the Verasi signal. "We received a distress call from the Verasi outpost," her communications officer reported. "They are under attack by an unknown enemy. Their defenses are failing." Captain Asha nodded. "Prepare the ship. We leave immediately. The Verasi may not last long without help." The crew worked quickly. The Nemesis activated its powerful engines and slipped into faster-than-light travel. Outside the windows, stars blurred into streaks of light as the ship jumped across the galaxy. As they traveled, Captain Asha reviewed the information about the Verasi's enemy. "No coalition ships have encountered this enemy before," she said quietly. "But from what we see, they are ruthless and well-armed." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Reich, frowned. "Do we know why the coalition has not acted sooner?" "Politics," Captain Asha replied bitterly. "Everyone is too busy looking after themselves. It's always like this when humans get involved. They either win or they break the rules." Back on the Verasi outpost, hope began to rise as a dark shape appeared in the sky. The Nemesis had arrived. The Verasi watched the warship with mixed feelings. The humans were famous warriors, yes, but also dangerous and unpredictable. Some feared what their help might bring. Others prayed that humanity's strength would be enough to save them. Captain Asha stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, looking out at the burning planets and shattered moons below. "We don't negotiate with cowards," she said firmly. "We end this quickly or the Verasi will be wiped out." The humans did not waste time with formal greetings or treaties. Their weapons powered up silently, deadly and precise. The Nemesis began its assault, firing on the enemy fleet with energy beams and missile strikes that made the dark sky light up like a storm of fire. The enemy ships tried to fight back, but they were unprepared for the humans' power. One by one, their vessels exploded in blinding flashes. The battle was fierce but swift. The Nemesis showed no mercy. As the last enemy ship fell, the Verasi slowly emerged from hiding. Their world was scarred, but alive. Captain Asha sent a brief message. "The threat is destroyed, the Verasi are safe." Elder Miri bowed her head in gratitude but also in fear. "You have saved us, but at what cost?" The humans did not answer. Their silence was heavy with meaning. They were warriors shaped by fire and loss, carrying the weight of their own dark pasts. What arrived to save the Verasi was more than a warship. It was a reminder of what humanity could become when pushed to the edge, and in the shadows of space, other eyes watched. The galaxy had just witnessed the arrival of humanity's darkest weapon. The black silhouette of the Nemesis hung over the Verasi homeworld like a shadow from a dark legend. It moved silently against the backdrop of burning stars and damaged planets, its engines humming softly with deadly purpose. The Verasi people, gathered in the streets watching from their shelters and towers. Their faces were a mixture of hope and fear. No one had ever seen a human warship up close before. Stories passed down through generations spoke of humans as fierce warriors, survivors of endless battles on their own world. Some said humanity had been forged in fire and war, that their weapons and tactics were unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. Now the stories were no longer just tales. The Nemesis was here. Inside the warship's command center, Captain Asha stood before a wide display screen. It showed the star systems the Verasi had lost and the positions of the remaining enemy forces. Her sharp eyes scanned the data. Every piece of information pointed to one truth. The enemy was strong but slow and brutal. They relied on sheer force, not on cleverness or strategy. "We will strike fast," Asha said. "We don't give them time to react. We hit their command ships first, then move to the rest." Her officers nodded, ready to carry out the plan. Meanwhile, in the Grand Hall of the Verasi Council, Elder Miri and her advisors met with representatives from the coalition. The room was filled with tension. Some coalition members worried about the humans' aggressive tactics. Others feared what would happen if the enemy was allowed to grow stronger. "The humans are not like us," said Ambassador Kelt, a tall, thin alien with silver skin. "Their methods are extreme. We should be cautious," Elder Miri replied, her voice steady but tired. "We have no choice. Our people need saving. If the humans can do it, we must trust them." Back on the Nemesis, the ship's weapon systems powered up with a quiet but terrifying energy. The dark hull seemed to pulse with life as the ship prepared to attack. "Target the enemy command cruiser," Captain Asha ordered. "We destroy their leadership, the rest will fall apart." The crew worked in perfect synchronization. Laser cannons spun up, missile bays opened, and drones were launched into the void. The Nemesis moved like a shadow through the enemy fleet, striking fast and disappearing before the enemy could respond. Explosions lit up the darkness as enemy ships were torn apart by precise strikes. The Nemesis showed no mercy. It was as if the ship itself was alive, driven by a single purpose: to end the threat swiftly and completely. On the surface, the Verasi watched in awe. They had never seen such power. The enemy fleet was no match for the humans' ferocity and technology. But fear lingered. The destruction was immense. Planets near the battle zone were damaged by stray fire, and entire fleets were obliterated, with little warning. The Verasi wondered if the humans saw their allies as expendable. Captain Asha stood quietly at her command chair, watching the final moments of the battle unfold on the screen. "Enemy command ship destroyed," came the report from the weapons officer. All enemy forces in retreat or destroyed, the tactical officer added. Asha nodded once. Hold position and begin rescue operations. We take survivors aboard. The Verasi leaders sent out urgent signals for survivors, and small ships began to gather those who had escaped the destruction. The humans helped where they could, but remained distant and cold, focused on their mission. Elder Miri met with Captain Asha later, inside the Verasi capital's emergency chamber. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of life support systems. Your arrival saved us, Miri said. But your methods, they are terrifying. Your weapons, your tactics, they leave little behind. Asha's eyes were steady. We do what is necessary. If we hold back, the enemy will return stronger. You asked for help. We gave it. Miri sighed. We thank you. But the galaxy will watch closely. Humanity's power is like a double-edged sword. News of the Nemesis victory spread quickly across the coalition and beyond. Some called it a miracle. Others whispered warnings. In the halls of power, diplomats and leaders debated. The humans had saved the Verasi, but at what cost? What did it mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? One voice rose above the rest. Admiral Thane, a veteran commander of the coalition fleet. Humanity is different, he said. Their weapons and tactics are not like ours. We must learn from them, yes, but we must also be ready to stop them if they lose control. Back on the Nemesis, the crew prepared for the next mission. Captain Asha reviewed the data again, a serious expression on her face. This victory is just the beginning, she said to her officers. There are other threats out there. We will find them, and when we do, we will be ready. Lieutenant Rick looked at her. The galaxy will remember what happened here. Some will fear us. Others will want to follow. Asha's eyes burned with determination. Let them watch. Humanity's time is coming. As the Nemesis departed the Verasi system, the survivors of the battle began to rebuild. The Verasi knew their world would never be the same. They had been saved by a force that was both terrifying and powerful. In the quiet shadows beyond their stars, the rest of the galaxy waited. Humanity had arrived, not just as allies, but as a force that could change everything. After the Nemesis left the Verasi system, whispers spread quickly among the coalition worlds. The humans had saved the day, but many wondered what kind of power they truly wielded and what price the galaxy might pay for their help. In a distant conference room on the coalition's capital station, representatives from many species met to discuss what had happened. Their faces showed worry, fear, and respect. Elder Miri, the Verasi leader, stood before the council, her voice steady but heavy with concern. The humans are unlike anyone we have known, she said. Their strength saved us, but their power, how they fight, is something darker than we imagined. Ambassador Kelt leaned forward. They do not fight with mercy. They destroy completely. This is not just war. It is something else. Across the table, a human delegate listened silently. He was quiet, serious, and spoke only when necessary. Our ways are shaped by survival, he said. We do what we must to protect our people and our homes. Back on the Nemesis, Captain Asha sat alone in her quarters. The glow of distant stars filtered through the thick window. She looked tired but resolute. Her past was a shadow she rarely spoke of, a planet scarred by endless wars, where humanity had fought for survival against overwhelming odds. It was a place where mercy was often a weakness and strength was the only way forward. Her ship, the Nemesis, was more than a warship. It was a symbol of that history. Equipped with advanced technology designed to end fights quickly and decisively, it was humanity's dark answer to a dangerous universe. Lieutenant Reek entered her quarters quietly. Captain, we have data from the Coalition scientists. They are trying to study our technology. Asha's eyes narrowed. Let them try. Our technology is not meant for them. It is built from hard lessons we learned on our world. Rick hesitated. There are concerns. Some believe our weapons could become a threat to the Coalition itself. Asha stood, her voice firm. If the Coalition is strong, it will survive. If it is weak, it will fall. We do not seek to rule or destroy, we seek only to protect. Meanwhile, in the laboratories of the Coalition, teams of scientists worked day and night to understand the secrets of the Nemesis. The ship's materials were unlike anything found in other parts of the galaxy. Its AI systems could adapt and learn faster than any known technology. Dr. Lyra, a brilliant engineer from the planet Eris, led one of the teams. She was fascinated and cautious. "This technology could change everything," she said. "But it is dangerous. We must be careful." Her assistant nodded. "The humans have turned survival into a weapon. It is both brilliant and terrifying." On a remote moon, a group of alien mercenaries watched the news feed about the Nemesis. They were hired by those who feared human power, those who wanted to keep control of their own secrets and territories. "The humans are a dark force," said their leader, a scarred warrior named Vorn. "If they keep spreading, they will destroy everything. We must stop them before it is too late." His team prepared weapons and ships ready to challenge the humans if they came near. Back on the Nemesis, Captain Asha stood on the bridge, watching the stars drift past. Her crew prepared for their next mission. The galaxy was full of threats, and humanity's role was becoming clearer. "We are the shield and the sword," she told her officers. "The galaxy needs us, not as conquerors but as protectors who understand what it means to survive." Lieutenant Reich looked at her. "Do you think the galaxy will ever accept us fully?" Asha smiled faintly. "They do not have to accept us. They only have to survive. And sometimes that means embracing the darkness we carry." In the Coalition's chambers, debates grew louder. Some saw humans as necessary protectors. Others feared their growing influence. Elder Miri spoke again, her voice calm but firm. "We must learn from humanity's strength, but we must also guard against losing ourselves. Power without control leads to ruin." The Council voted to allow the humans to continue their missions, but with strict oversight. As the Nemesis prepared to jump to its next destination, a new message came in. A warning from a distant star system. A threat worse than the invaders that attacked the Verisi was moving closer. Captain Asha looked at the screen, her eyes hardening. "Prepare the ship. The real fight is just beginning." The galaxy had seen humanity's power. Now it was ready to see what it truly meant. The victory at the Verasi system was complete. The invaders had been crushed under the relentless power of the Nemesis. But the aftermath was far from peaceful. Across the Coalition's worlds, news of the battle spread quickly. Many celebrated the human success. Without the Nemesis, the Verisi would have been lost. But beneath the cheers were whispers of concern. The damage left behind was vast. The Verasi homeworld, though saved, bore deep scars. Cities had been flattened, forests burned, and oceans poisoned by stray fire and debris from the battle. The peaceful people who once called it home now faced a long and difficult rebuilding process. Elder Miri walked among the ruins, her heart heavy. "They saved us," she told a group of survivors, "but at a terrible cost." In the Coalition Council, chambers debates grew heated. Some leaders argued that the humans' power was necessary, a shield against darkness. Others warned that such force could become a danger to all. Ambassador Kelt spoke passionately. "We must not become like the enemy we fought, the humans. Weapons are too powerful, too destructive. We risk losing our own identity if we follow their path." Captain Asha aboard the Nemesis heard these concerns but did not waver. In the command center, she stood before her officers. "Our mission is to protect the innocent," she said firmly. "Yes, our methods are harsh, but war is harsh. If we hesitate, more worlds will fall." Lieutenant Reek nodded. "We must be ready for what comes next." But there was more to the story. Some of the Coalition's scientists had begun to study the battlefield remains. They found strange energy signatures left behind by the Nemesis weapons. These energies disrupted natural ecosystems, altering environments in ways no one fully understood. Dr. Lyra reviewed the reports with growing concern. "Our technology is not just powerful, it changes everything it touches. The fallout from the battle could affect this system for generations." Even the Verasi noticed the changes. Fish vanished from the seas. Plants grew twisted and weak. The sky, once clear and bright, was now hazy and strange. Despite these warnings, the Coalition had little choice but to accept humanity's help. Other threats loomed in the galaxy, and no one else had the firepower to face them. Meanwhile, in Neolaziyar, secret, a faction within the Coalition began to study human technology with another goal in mind, not to use it for protection, but for power. Ambassador Kelt's words echoed in their minds. We risk losing our identity. On a dark outpost, far from Coalition eyes, engineers and soldiers tested stolen human tech. They sought to create their own dark weapons to challenge the humans' dominance. Vorn, the mercenary leader, watched the progress closely. If we can match their power, he said, we can stop the humans before they become unstoppable. Back on the Nemesis, Captain Asha prepared for the next mission. The galaxy was changing and the lines between friend and foe were blurring. She gathered her officers. We are not just soldiers. We are a warning and a promise. The darkness we bring is the price of survival. We will carry it, so others do not have to. As the ship jumped into the next star system, the crew felt the weight of their duty. Humanity's darkest weapon was more than just a tool of war. It was a burden, one that shaped the future of the galaxy. The question remained, would the galaxy accept that price or would it turn against humanity? The galaxy was watching. Humanity's arrival had changed everything. Some saw humans as saviors, others as a growing threat, but none could ignore the power they wielded. On the Coalition capital station, meetings ran late into the night. Leaders from many worlds argued over how to handle the humans and their weapons. We cannot allow them to control the future of the galaxy, said Ambassador Kelt. Their technology is too dangerous. But without them, we are weak, replied Admiral Thane. They are the only ones who can fight the threats coming. Meanwhile, the Nemesis traveled through deep space, far from Coalition eyes. Captain Asha studied reports of a new threat, a massive fleet from the shadowy star system of Arhal. The Arhal were a mysterious species, known for their cruelty and ambition. They had begun conquering nearby systems, leaving destruction in their wake. The Coalition feared that the Arhal fleet would soon reach key planets. In the war room of the Nemesis, officers prepared for battle. We will face a fleet twice our size, Lieutenant Rick said. They are ruthless and well-armed. Asha's face was calm but determined. We fight not because we want war, but because we must protect those who cannot protect themselves. Back on the Coalition station, a secret group met in the shadows. They were scientists, politicians, and soldiers who wanted to control or destroy the humans' dark weapons before it was too late. One of them, a woman named Saren, spoke with urgency. If the humans lose control, the galaxy will suffer. We must find their weapons and neutralize them. Far away, Vorn and his mercenaries prepared to strike. They had stolen human technology and built their own warships. Their plan was simple: attack the Nemesis before it could reach the Arhal fleet. If we can take out the Nemesis, we stop the humans' rise, Vorn said. The Nemesis arrived near the Arhal system. The fleet was vast and dark, ships moving, like predators through the stars. Asha ordered full battle readiness. We do not underestimate them, but we do not fear them. The battle began with sudden fury. Energy beams lit the darkness. Ships exploded in bright flashes. The Nemesis moved like a ghost, striking precise and deadly blows. But the Arhal fought fiercely. They had numbers and technology that rivaled the humans. During the fight, Vorn's mercenaries launched their surprise attack. Smaller, faster, ships appeared from a hidden sector, targeting the Nemesis directly. "Ambush!" Lieutenant Reich shouted. "Multiple hostiles inbound." The Nemesis turned quickly, fighting off the attackers. The battle grew chaotic. Captain Asha stood at the command center, her voice steady. "Focus fire on the mercenaries, they are the key." The crew responded with skill and speed. One by one, the mercenary ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. With the mercenaries pushed back, the Nemesis turned its full power on the Arhal fleet. The dark weapon showed its full force, tearing through enemy ships with devastating energy. After hours of battle, the Hull fleet began to break apart. Their ships fled or were destroyed. The Nemesis had won, but at a cost. The ship was damaged and the crew was tired. As the dust settled, Captain Asha looked at her officers. This victory shows what we are capable of. But it also shows what waits for us in the future. Lieutenant Rick nodded. We have enemies on all sides. The galaxy is changing. Back on the Coalition station, leaders debated again. Some wanted to work closely with humans. Others wanted to limit their power. Elder Miri spoke clearly. We must find balance. Humanity's weapon is both shield and sword. If we fail to control it, all will be lost. The Nemesis set course for repairs and regrouping. The war was far from over. Captain Asha knew that humanity's darkest weapon was not just a tool. It was a symbol of their survival and the galaxy's uncertain future. The Nemesis moved through the star-streaked darkness, its battered hull glowing faintly under emergency lights. Repairs were underway, but the real battle lay ahead. Captain Asha stood on the bridge, staring at the incoming data. The warning was clear. A massive force from the distant Void Nebula was moving toward the Coalition's borders. This was the enemy the Nemesis had prepared for all along. In the Coalition Command Center, alarms blared as sensors tracked the approaching fleet. The leaders gathered quickly, their faces grim. This is the greatest threat we have ever faced, Admiral Thane said. If they break through, entire star systems will fall. Elder Miri added, we must stand united. Humanity's strength will be vital. Captain Asha gathered her crew on the Nemesis. The air was tense but focused. This is what we've trained for, she said. Our enemies are stronger than ever, but so are we. The galaxy depends on us. The enemy fleet appeared on the horizon, a vast armada of dark ships moving like shadows. They were silent but deadly, advanced beyond anything the Coalition had seen. The battle began with thunder. Energy blasts lit the void as ships clashed. The Nemesis led the charge, moving with lethal precision. Captain Asha coordinated every move, pushing the ship's systems to their limits. The crew worked as one, driven by a fierce determination to protect their home and all those who depended on them. But the enemy was relentless. They adapted quickly, countering the Nemesis's attacks and striking back with brutal force. In the heat of battle, the Nemesis's AI, known as Shade, activated a new protocol, a powerful but risky weapon system designed for total destruction. Captain, activating the Dark Lance, Shade announced. Asha nodded. Do it, we have no choice. A massive beam of energy shot from the Nemesis, cutting through the enemy fleet like a blade of light. Ships exploded in cascades of fire and debris. The weapon was devastating. The enemy faltered, but was not defeated. They launched a desperate counterattack, targeting the Nemesis' weakest points. Explosions rocked the ship, alarms blared. The crew fought to hold their positions. Captain Asha remained calm, directing damage control teams and rallying her officers. We survived this, she said firmly. For the galaxy. Outside, the battle raged on. The Nemesis's dark weapon tore through the enemy, but the cost was clear. Systems overloaded, shields weakened, and crew fatigue grew. Finally, after hours of relentless fighting, the enemy fleet began to break apart. Their ships fled or were destroyed. The Nemesis stood victorious, but barely. As silence fell, Captain Asha addressed her crew. This victory is ours, but it is also a warning. The darkness we wield can save or destroy. We must choose carefully. Back on the Coalition station, leaders breathed a sigh of relief but knew the peace would be fragile. Elder Miri spoke to the council. Humanity's weapon has saved us, but it must be guided by wisdom and restraint. Captain Asha looked out, into space, knowing this was not the end. Humanity's darkest weapon was a force of survival, but also a burden, a reminder that power must be balanced with responsibility. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity's time had only just begun.